So now we have our background for our infographic, and we're ready to move on to putting the information part of the infographic onto the background and the canvas. So before I show you where the graphics are going to come from here, it's important to think about what exactly you want to show and how you might lay it out. So sketching out an idea ahead of time on the whiteboard or on a piece of paper will help you plan where things are going to go in your infographic, and then also what kinds of images you're going to need to add to it. So for my infographic, what I'd like to do is I'm going to do mine on my data is for bycatch. So I'm switching topics here just for the purposes of this to show you what I might do. So for bycatch, my statistic shows that there are 21 million tons of fish, dead fish, are thrown back in the ocean as a result of overfishing. And so I want to represent that in a pictogram, where if you've seen those before, you would have an image of a person or a dog or an animal, and you would line them up, and each one would represent 1,000 people or 1,000,000 cats or something like that. So I want to do that with fish. So I have my idea ready for my infographic, and now I'm going to go out and look for the icons themselves. So I'm going to take you to a new website. This one is also listed in your agenda. It is called Flaticon. So it is at flaticon.com. And you're going to see the types of images that are listed here. The library's website, if you're familiar with this screen here, are all using images from Flaticon from the same image family so that they are in the same style. So same as with Pixabay, you're going to be able to search for what you're looking for. And in your search results screen, you're going to have all these different options that are here. You have collections here, and then you have individual icons that are listed. A small number of the icons that you will find have a gold crown below those. That is a premium icon, and so that requires you to buy those. So those would be unavailable for you. But everything else with the S in the box below would be an icon that you would be able to use. Okay, so I found a fish right here that I'm going to use because I like the black line drawing. So just like before, I'm going to go ahead and click on the fish, and I'm going to get rid of my pop-up ad that came up. All right, so here's my fish here that I want to use. Now I'm looking over here at the license, which I saw over in Pixabay as well. This has what's called a Flaticon basic license, and then it says it's necessary to credit the author. So we're going to put that somewhere on our infographic. So anything from Flaticon, you're going to need to do this. You don't get to decide whether or not you're going to give credit to the author. If they're telling you need to do it, it's a condition of being able to use the image, so you have to. So we'll get into how to credit that in just a second. So I'm going to use this one here. I've got this fish. I'm going to right click on it. Remember on a Chromebook, if you don't have a mouse, that's a 2-finger tap on the touchpad. And copy image, not copy image address, but copy image. And I'm going to bring this back to my canvas. I'm going to right click again or Control V to paste that fish right there. And then I'll be able to drag that fish where I would like it to go. Now in my infographic, I'm going to need, if I was doing 21 million fish and I want each fish to be, and my infographic can represent 3 million fish, I'm going to need to make 7 fish total. Okay, so as I look at this, then there's a couple of ways to do it. You can copy with a Control C, or right click and choose copy, then right click and paste. Okay, if you're using the paste feature on the keyboard with Control V, you could just repeat Control V till I get to 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another trick which we learned to do is if you click on your fish and then do Control D, it does a duplicate. So you just do Control D for duplicate, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm going to spread my fish out here. Now what I'm going to find is these fish are all too big for me to fit all in a row on my canvas. So I've got to shrink it down to them to be a size that I want. I'm going to make sure I use the corners to do that. Now one of the things you're going to run into is how much time it's going to take you to get all your fish exactly the same size if you do it this way. So I'm going to undo all here and get back to my single fish. What you really should do instead is make the first fish, the first icon, the size you want it to be, and then duplicate it from there. And then you'll be able to line them up. All right. So as I'm dragging these fish around, you're going to notice some things that are happening. So I'm going to move them all out of the way. When I line them up, when I get this fish right here, you notice a red horizontal line coming through that. That means it is lined up perfectly with the fish beside it. When I bring the next fish over, I'm still going to be looking for that line, and I'm going to get it to a point where, if you notice that there are these little H brackets that show up underneath the fish. When it looks like this, it's showing me that not only is it lined up, the red line says it's lined up perfectly, but then they're also exactly the same distance apart from one another. Okay, so what you're really looking for are those details that show neatness and attention, and these things matter when people are looking at the work that you've done. Okay, so you're going to really try and get those worked out so they all line up nicely. Okay, so that's how you get your fish on there. Now for the attribution, we're going to go back to Flaticon. There's a link here that says how to credit. So we're going to click how to credit, and it will show you how. You'll scroll down. How must I insert the attribution? So you're going to attribute credit to the author. And it is a very simple thing. All they want from you is they want something that looks like this somewhere on your page. So icon made by, author link from flaticon.com. And you'll find the author here in this area. So it's free pick. So a lot of the icons that you'll use will be free pick. So you can choose that there. If it's not free pick, just change it to whoever is the author that's listed there. So the way we'll do this here is we'll come back to our canvas. We're going to insert a text box, which you can see from the menu here. I'm going to draw a very small box here at the bottom, and I'm going to type in the text that I needed. Icon made by free pick from flaticon.com. And then I'm going to click on the edge of my box here, and I'm going to make it a small font because I want it to be there, but I don't want it to overpower the information that is on my graphic. And so now I've given the attribution where it's necessary. Now, in addition to my live fish, I want to have a dead fish graphic to go along with it. So I'm going to go back to Flaticon, and this time I'm going to search for dead fish. Find some dead fish there. Seeing that gives me a different idea, so maybe I'll search for fish bones and see what I can find there also. Okay, so again, there's the research part, doing it more than once to find what you want. Now, one thing that's very important when you're thinking about design and how things look is you want to be sure that you stay in a similar style. You don't want to mix an image that looks like this with color with the one we've already chosen, because it's not a style match. So you want to be careful about that. So you'd be looking for something that looked like this, or even here like this, because it'll be in the same style that you can use. So I click on it. Again, it's necessary to credit the author, and then it's also by free pick, so I already have my attribution ready to go. So I'll copy this image, bring it back to my drawing, paste it. It's enormous, so I'm going to shrink it down, and I'm going to use these red lines that pop in to let me know when I've shrunken it down to the size of the other one, and then I can duplicate that. So I don't need as many of these as I do for the other, and then I'm going to space them out the same way. So this is how you will use icons and flaticon.com in order to find the images that you're going to use to represent any data that you have.